is that there's a really good chance that we think we know who Jesus is based on the traditions of the West. And the West, she likes to point out, is about 90 degrees of a 360-degree form of Christianity. And it became very rigidly focused on belief and uniformity. And in so doing, it excluded, and viciously excluded, I would say, other ways of thinking about Jesus and about the whole spiritual life and what Christianity was becoming before they locked it down to being a certain way. And they burned or destroyed the text of these other 270 degrees of Christianity. And so we're left with this idea that Jesus came to save us, that we need to believe in him, and that our belief and our agreement with the structure that the church has said you must believe in, if you don't believe in that, you're going to hell. Now, granted, in the 21st century, that may sound a little harsh, but it's indoctrinated into our culture so thoroughly that we need to break from it to begin to see the possibility that Jesus was somebody different. A wisdom teacher that is essentially a guru, what we would call a guru today. Someone who has experienced the depth of his own spiritual nature, his own transcended our lesser states, and resides in consciousness at a high enough level that just being around him would influence your own state. And if you followed his practices and teachings, you too could become an awakened being. So what Jesus is offering is a radical transformation of the operating system that we were born with. And to do that, you have to go against the grain of your own built-in system. To change the system, you can't play it as you used to. You can't do the same dance and expect to have a different outcome. And the whole of it is not so much that you get everything you want, as that you transcend this level of consciousness which keeps you in the want, in the lack, and the suffering. And you ask yourself to use your own practice, your own doing, to become something greater than you were before. And so what he's saying is, change your mind, bigger or beyond thinking, so that you might have a different experience and come into the kingdom of heaven, which is this vibratory rate, this awareness level, this feeling natural state that hides behind our binary experience, this place of awareness and expansion in which you are no longer separate but one with everything. Come into the kingdom of heaven by going beyond your little mind, or expand yourself into big knowing. This is the message of Jesus. Go beyond your ego, we'll call it. Love your enemy, right? Give. It's more blessed to give than to get. Are you crazy? They're here. He's here. All the consciousness of the binary operating system is not able to grok what he's talking about. And so essentially what Cynthia Bourgeault is saying in this book is that Jesus descends from a very high place, we shall call it heaven, to come down and to try to teach a populace that may be several thousand years away from being their average level of awareness. He's coming down to pluck those who have ears to hear. If you can hear what I'm saying, you can go someplace else. You don't have to live like this. Is that fair? So if you're asking that question, there's a really good chance that's where you are. But if you can see that by just being open and generous without reason, you are beginning to move into a state of consciousness in which you see everyone as yourself. And there is no other there. And you don't have to protect yourself from them. And so, yes, you love your enemy and you love your neighbor just like your neighbor was you. At a certain level of awareness, love is what you trade in, not in yours and mine, but in we. And love breaks down the distinctions. And the method to get to there is to reside in the state of awareness called the heart. And in the heart, the organ of the heart is the one that receives more clearly the messages from higher states of awareness and can interpret what to do in this life without the sense of other. That somehow knows what I do affects everything, and so the heart listens to be able to hear what is the good of everybody. But if we want to be awakened to our incredible, blissful, beyond normal state of awareness, then what Jesus is saying, come try what I do. Try being incredibly open and loving, indifferent about your consequences, indifferent about do you have enough, and reside in the higher state of awareness. But as Jesus said, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are those who suffer, blessed are those who give without condition. They are the ones that inherit that awareness, the kingdom of heaven.